Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of the Club 100 SP60 Super Heavyweight Championship from the perspective of Rich T Racing. Coming into the penultimate round of the year here back again at Lid. We've got ourselves a championship to win and we've got ourselves a little bit of a challenge on our hands today, because once again the menace that is Dickie Allen has rocked up, because today was always forecast to be a wet day and that man is just next level in the wet. So we were never going to win today, but we were certainly going to give ourselves a good chance to gain some more points on our nearest competitor, Mr. Richard Newton. And we come into qualifying, and unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it went a little bit wrong for us. As you can see there, Dickie Allen up in third. He was actually on pole during qualifying, but he had a two-place penalty for track limits. Then it's Richard in 15th, second in class. Then me just behind him in 16th, third in class. Unfortunately, I just didn't quite get the lap in through qualifying. Simon Lish then rocks in 23rd. Mark Ford and James Dornan rounding out the top six. We then move on to the next six. We've got Daniel White, Stuart Kirk, Stephen Farmer, Peter Gillette, Christopher Heath and James Fremont. And rounding off this SP60 grid, we have got Sean Conroy and a new chap to the grid. Please welcome Ian Zumpel. Zumpel? I don't know. Zoom something. Now, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are familiar with the Rich T Racing SP60 videos would surely now be expecting me to jump into race one and go through that race and show you everything that happened there. I'd love to be able to do this, ladies and gentlemen. I really, really would. And normally, again, every single video this year, all, what is it, 8 videos so far, 9 videos, however many we've done this year, I have been able to do that. But today, our luck ran out because due to SD card storage space and an inability to delete videos off the SD card, unfortunately, did not turn the GoPro on for the start of this race. I meant to, but I completely forgot. And to be honest, it's probably spared my blushes a little bit, because I was absolutely crap in race number one. At the very start, I collected a cone and ate that for about way longer than I had hoped for. Lost a good number of places at the start, and I just had absolutely no pace. My least favourite type of conditions. I was hoping for full wet, but it was dry with wet patches, which is just not a bit of me. I'm more about either full dry or full wet. Anything in between is a little bit So yeah, the only real things of note that happened were this little incident here involving about 5 drivers that ended up finding themselves in the bark. And let me tell you something, don't end up in the bark, because it's absolutely fucking dangerous out in that stuff, as I found out during the endurance race. And the only other thing to happen was that for the first time in my SP60 career, I actually had a direct impact on who won the race overall, because as we come here into the second chicane, I've had a little bit of a moment, bit of oversteer through the middle part of the corner. As we come onto the exit, I've had to try and get it all sorted, and there goes Mike Coppin, and there also goes Anwar Beryl-Smith, who had been in the lead of the race, but because of my mistake, my little moment, Anwar now finds himself behind Mike, and that's how it would stay for the rest of the race. And as you just saw, Anwar absolutely fucking fuming with me. I suppose there is an argument to say that to win a race, you've got to make sure you get through the back markers. And on this occasion, I had a moment. Anwar went left, Mike went right. Anwar got caught out, Mike didn't. Mike won the race. That's just racing at the end of the day. But we move on. We move on to the end of the race, actually, because again, I realised I turned the camera on. I'd forgotten to turn the camera on about 10 minutes in, and that was literally all the footage of note that I was able to pick up. So here's what it meant then for the results. You can see there, Dickie Allen up in P5. He was, again, out of touch. Peter Gillette, I want to talk about Pete Gillette, absolute legend of a man. He was down, I'm going to have to remind myself where he came in qualifying. He was down in 33rd place. He's climbed 20 positions to finish 13th. Just absolutely fantastic. You have to doff your cap there. And then Christopher Heath in 17th, and look at me, 19th. Now apparently across the line, Dickie was 5th and I was 17th. And what's happened is that I picked up a 2-place penalty in race 1 for track limits, and ultimately that's meant that a load of guys around me also have penalties, and Pete was like the first person to not have a penalty, so he jumped up from 19th to 13th, and I'm obviously now down in 19th place. So we got a little bit of work to do to even get on the podium in this round. That would be the first time this year that my podium position has been under threat in the SP60 SHW. I suppose you could say that at Clay I had a bit of a stinker in race 2, but my results were good enough in race 1 to be able to get on the podium in the end. So yeah, race 1 at lead, quite possibly my worst of the year. What can we say? We've just got to move on to race number 2, which is where we find ourselves now. Got to try and get past Christopher as quickly as possible. Got to get onto the back of Peter as quickly as possible in order to try and secure second place and try and avoid getting a second, third of the year. We're looking for the go-go sign. I think it's a little bit, it hasn't come on quick enough, but there we go. We are now getting this race underway, and we've gone diving in on the brakes, going for the outside line. It was a risky move. This went wrong here into the endurance, but it's done well so far. Now we've got the inside line heading into chicane number 2. Are we going to try and go down the inside on Tim Williams? It hasn't worked so far, as we've now getting caught out by Darryl Stanley, who's also been caught out by Tim. And oh my god, the tyres have just been set into absolute oblivion there. But from Darryl, I think that might have been Christopher Heath getting in his way, and Christopher actually getting some good moves in on Tim as well. And there's a chap in the white helmet as well. But we were, before anything else can happen, there's a red flag. Now, at first, I thought this red flag was just the fact that we were all being quite leery, and I thought JV was like, no, sorry, absolutely shit. I'm calling the race. Unfortunately, the accident was it was an accident, and it was actually quite a bit more serious than any accidents happened this year. It involved Mr. Richard Newton, who I haven't even mentioned so far. Richard was sporting a rather nasty thigh injury, which meant that he basically pulled out of race number 1. He then worked out how to do the pedals to make sure that his thigh didn't hurt as much, and he went into race 2 thinking, you know what, he said to me, I'm coming for you, JJ, I'm coming for you. What actually happened was that he'd got a fantastic start, but then had been caught out by a spinner, slammed into him, and then also got, I think, taken out by somebody else and was really hurt. I think I saw him lying on the floor. It was a really serious moment. It was sort of a bit of a hush fell over the circuit, but we saw him walking around. He was all right in the end, and he is still all right, but it was some worrying times. But fortunately, he was able to go on. And what the sad thing is that I haven't really spoke about this. Through that thigh injury, Richard scored literally no points. Like, some of his worst results of the year were now his counted results, and that almost effectively meant that I was very close. I'm now very close to wrapping up this championship, and this is just not quite the way I wanted it to happen. As the title of the video suggests, we're going out with a little bit of a whimper here, but the main thing is that Richard was okay. He was able to restart the race. He was able to go out for a bit of a jolly, but yeah, just thank God he was all right. And yeah, I think that just shows that motorsport can be dangerous, kids. It can. And it can happen to anyone, especially even in Club 100 racing. Bad shit can happen. But again, thank God Richard was okay. So let's get this race back underway then, shall we? The time has come down from 30 minutes to 25. We've got to try and do what we nearly did at the start last time, get past Christopher and then get onto the back of Peter and put as much distance between myself and him to get a second place. We are now go, go, go. The go, go, go sign has worked a little bit better this time around, and here we go then. We've got a little bit more space heading through chicane number 1. This time it's a little bit more calmer heading through there as we now head down towards chicane number 2. Christopher on the inside of Tim Williams. We're just going to take a nice easy line through here. We've got the outside line now heading into the hairpin. Now are we going to try, I think that's Darryl who's just nipped down the inside of us as well, but are we going to be able to get a little cut back here on Christopher? Yes we are, and we get that position. Wham bam, thank you man. But we are going to have to take this inside line into the right, left, right, and we have been able to do that nicely. So as we now come through what was the most trickiest part of the track for me, I just was not having this at all. We've now got a good run here, and we're going to try and push Darryl along to get him past him. We get the thumbs up as well because we have literally just helped Darryl get through, and we're past him as well. And you can just see in front of there the red and blue helmet of Peter Gillette. We have got ourselves a fabulous opportunity to get Peter within the opening laps of this race. Just got to make sure we keep it on track as we now head down towards chicane number 2. We're a little bit not quite in the right place for this corner, but we're hanging on for the moment. Oh, we're just onto the back of Daryl. Surely we're going to be able to send it down the inside. No, Daryl going defensive. Are we going to be able to get him on the switchback, heading towards the right, left, right? We normally get not very good drive out of here, and it's happened again, but are we going to go down the inside? Yes, we are. Lovely move, and it's now just Peter in front of us, but we have lost it a little bit on the exit of the right, left, right, and we now, you can just see how far Peter now in front. We're going defensive into the final corner. Daryl must be directly behind us, or Tim, or someone, so we've got to try and keep them behind us as best we possibly can, heading on to lap number 3, still in pursuit of Peter and still doing quite well, but we've just lost it a little bit there through the curve. We've just run a bit wide as well. Track limits ruined us in race 1. We're going defensive once again into turn or chicane number 2, but yeah, track limits ruined us in that race, and it looks like they might come into effect in this one as well. But as we come into the hairpin, you can see the change line. That can only be one thing. Someone's coming down the inside of us. It's Mr. Steve Lindley, and there's also somebody else on our inside into the right, left, right. Not entirely sure who that is. It's someone. It's a person. They have come down the inside of us, and we now find ourselves basically back where we started this race, 2 positions behind Peter. So we're just going to have to try and stick onto the back of these guys for as long as we possibly can, and hope that they can allow us to get past Peter as well. And just a little bit later on in this lap, you can see Steve there going down the inside of Peter into the right, left, right, and getting that move done. And now is this chap in the white helmet going to be able to follow Steve through? Well, Peter's going to have a little look down the inside of Peter. He's gone defensive on this chap in white, and that has allowed me to close up once again. So it is all about now, can we follow this chap in the white helmet through on Peter as we now come through the first chicane. Lovely corner is the first chicane. I think you might have seen a track limits warning for me there as we cross the line, but it looks like that chap in the white just getting a little bit of a better drive out of the second part of the chicane. And now here he goes. Is he going to try and send it down the inside? Yes, he is, and I'm going to now try and follow him through as well. Have we got the move done? No, not quite. Are we going to try and send it down the inside? No, because there's just not quite enough space on the turn in. Peter defending beautifully, it has to be said, through there. There was a wet patch on the inside. I didn't want to commit too much, so we move on. But now we have got Peter firmly within our sights, and we're also just run wide there, as there goes the wannabe Jensen Button. So we've lost yet another place, and it's a real shame that, because had we been able to get past Peter earlier on, or had we not had to defend against the likes of Steve, against that chap in the white helmet, we could have got past Peter so much earlier and made even more progress on them. But this is the way of motor racing. Sometimes it just does not quite work out, but we still have Peter firmly in our sights. We're going to have to use the wannabe Jensen Button, whose name I probably should know. He's been in enough videos now that I should have probably learnt it, but well, I just haven't. So there we go, we move on. But coming through again, this corner, I fucking hated this corner through the majority of race 1, and it was still not great through race 2, but getting a bit better. Just that little wet patch on the inside wasn't helpful, but sort of someone on the inside that is helpful is the chap in the wannabe Jensen Button helmet, and he has now got past Peter. So there's now no one between me and Peter, and the gap is significantly smaller heading through the first chicane. We've definitely got Peter firmly on our sides. We had a little look into the second chicane, but nothing going for the moment. We're going to take a nice wide line. Peter just losing a bit there on the exit. We just give him a little bump up the rear, and we're going to try and go down the inside, but Peter holding his line beautifully, doing a lovely job there, and he's able to get the drive out of the top hairpin. But as now we come through the right, left, right, Peter looked like he just missed his apex there, and has he just lost it a little bit through the wet patch? It looks like he has, and now we have got a good run down the inside towards the final corner. We did some brilliant moves here at Lid earlier in the year, and we've done another important one here today as we move past Peter and up into second place. Now we've just got to get our head down and try and make up as many positions as we possibly can. And as you can see, a couple minutes later, we find ourselves onto the back of this chap, and again, another guy whose name I probably should know in the context of the season. I've raced a lot of times. I've come up behind this chap. All I know him as is the chap with the orange shoulders. So we've got a chance to get past him here. We've also got the bear going a little bit slowly up just in front of us as well. As we get past this guy, we are going to be onto the back of them. Peter nowhere in sight, so it's got a great opportunity to make up some decent positions. And it looks like, similar to Peter earlier on, this chap with the orange shoulder pads has got a little bit wrong heading into the final corner. We've done this move so many times. What could possibly go wrong? I'll tell you what's going to go wrong. The move has gone completely awry, and we did not get on the brakes as well as we could. He turned in a little bit early, I will say, but it is completely our fault, that one. And yeah, this awful day in the SP60 just got a lot worse. It was an awful day in general, because we lost out on the endurance win thanks to a black flag in the final 5 minutes of the race. And the stupidest thing I do here is slow down, thinking that the chap in orange shoulder pads was behind me, but it turns out it's bloody Christopher Heath. So I've just cost myself the opportunity to try and gain some positions, but it was done out here. We picked up a 4th-place penalty, and even the battle with the bear later on isn't worth showing to you because I wasn't able to get past him. So ultimately, we would come home to finish in 21st place behind Peter and behind Dickie, but we would still be able to pick up another podium for the year, maintain the 100% podium finishing rate in the SP60 of the year. But obviously, only our 2nd, 3rd place of the year, so it's sort of it's one of them. I put the post out on social media and I did say, look, it shows just how well we've come on this year that I'm disappointed with 3rd place, and this is technically a very bad day for me. But we just got to move on, and we've just got to look at the fact that the championship is almost wrapped up. Here you can see the standings. As you can see, I've got a 45-point gap over Richard, who is only just a little bit in front of Dickie Allen, who mathematically cannot overhaul me. Then it's Peter Gillette, who unfortunately cannot get onto the back of Richard to try and get a top 3 for the championship. Then it's Christopher Heath, Jamie Garside, Stuart Kirk, Mark Ford, Simon Lish, James Fremont, Stephen Farmer and Daniel White rounding off the top 12 in the championships. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video. Unfortunately, a bit of a stinker for myself, but we move on. We've got a championship to wrap up at Bayford Meadows next time out, and if you want to see that video and you are still watching, you've enjoyed this video, you've watched the entire series, and for some reason you're not subscribed to the channel, you haven't hit that bell for notifications, please be sure to do that, because I can assure you you're not going to want to miss out on the final video of the year, which will be at Bayford Meadows, coming out within the next few weeks or so, maybe in days, who knows. But that is it for the video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching, and all I shall say for now is ta-ta and farewell.
Yeah, I didn't see it happen. I saw the after.
Yeah, no.
You know what to do when you're being lapped, mate. Any clue? Get out of the way. Try it.
Don't go, well.
Try it.
Yeah, alright, mate, alright.
They always say, race your own race and they'll go round you.
Yeah, I had a moment into the 2nd chicane. He went to the outside, Mike went to the inside. He got it wrong.
Well, there you go.
I made a mistake.
Yeah.
But he chose to go that way. Mike chose to go that way.